He's back there. Hi, Steve. Hello, big guy. I'm not up tonight. No, I had a chance because they have two people canceled. And then Carl came in and like, hey, I'm like, no. I just smoked some weed, dude. There's no way I stayed. I was like, if you would have been here 5 minutes ago, I'd be right up there. And there you go. Okay. That's good news.
I'm not even sure I can go up with a straight face now. This is now WWE.
I love it. I wasn't expecting that though, at all.
Yeah, because
Hey, there's a...
Hey, good evening, everybody. Welcome to CSE Portland. I'm Patrick Short. I'm the general manager and your host. Also helping at the door tonight, Johanna and Carissa. Let's give them a round of applause. We will serve beer, wine, cider, sodas throughout the show if you need to go in between. It's best to at least start the transaction in between our comics. Thank you for being here. This is a student showcase, so a couple things about that. First, it's no heckling zone. They're students. Give them a break. All right? Cool. We're here to support. Yes? Yes! Awesome. Love to hear that. Last night's showcase was fantastic. I expect nothing less tonight. It'll just great. I think you're going to see 6 or 7 of the students. Carl Wolfson will be hosting. We'll talk about Carl in just a moment. One more thing, by being here, you are consenting that your image will be in perpetuity available for CSC Portland for all promotional purposes on the internets or anything else that's invented in the future. Yes?
Yes!
Okay, thank you very much, because otherwise you have to leave. We are Zooming this all around the world, currently to 0 people. So, way to go, comics. Last night we started with 18 screens, and tonight it's at 0. If you're on there and you've signed on since, sorry I didn't see you. But this also will be available to the comics and anyone they want to send the link to afterwards on the YouTubes. It's pretty cool that we're able to do that so easily. Carl Wilson's been teaching the classes. Carl's an amazing guy, 40-plus year career, a radio host of many years, and not a DJ, a host. I made that mistake once. I will not make that mistake again. And I've appeared on Air America, KPOJ, KPAM, hosting with our good friend Margie Belay for many years. He's just a great guy, and he's a great teacher from what I've been seeing in these showcases. It's just been helping people find their truth, and it's awesome. So let's give it up for your host and teacher, Carl Wolfson.
Thank you, Patrick. Keep on for Patrick. Everybody in comedy for 30 years. Yeah! 30 years they've been doing this here. How are you tonight? Good? Yeah, thanks. You just saw the forehead with that, didn't you? Okay. I'm pretty excited today, actually. I got a call this morning. I was asked to join the Pac-12, and it's Oregon State, Washington State, and me. So it's going to be good. Yeah, 3. That's right, sir. I asked my students not to do any math over 3, so that's one of the things. You'll be okay tonight then. Good for you. I have been doing comedy 43 years, and it's fun to be with these students. They're all amazing, and in addition to having a great time in class, well, I'm pretty nostalgic about 4 decades of comedy. I really am. I was on Alan Thicke's show, Thick of the Night, every week, and Alan passed away suddenly. I was on Joan Rivers every other week, and Joan passed away suddenly. I kind of wish I'd been on The Apprentice, but so now I learned the audience can count to 3 and you hate Trump. Good, okay. We have one Trumper in our family, just one. She's in Texas. Imagine that. Aunt Fern, 95 years old. Aunt Fern, pain in the ass. Anyone have a pain in the ass in their family? Come on. Jeez. She's a whiner. She's always complaining nobody ever calls her, so I got her one of those "How am I driving" bumper stickers. Phone hasn't stopped ringing, I'll tell you that. And I do some work with old people. I've started about 5 years ago, caregiving. And I think it's wonderful. Aunt Fern doesn't get anything from me, but I mean, people, I have a couple people, 88-year-olds here in Portland. And one thing I like about old people is they have no filter, which is great for comedy. And my friend Patty, now she's 88 years old, over at Providence House at 60th and Burnside. She's very excited to have. She said to me, I told all the women in the building I have a male caregiver. And I said, "Oh, that's sweet, Patty." She said, they wanted to know if you were handsome. I said, "Well, what do you say?" She goes. So it was like, guess whose pills are getting fucked up tonight? Be careful with your comedy. So we have a great lineup tonight, and a couple of our performers, Charles Gallia has COVID, and Nick Dudley is under the weather tonight. I think kids went back to school, kids get sick, they give their parents, but we have 6 incredible comics on tonight. You're going to get your money's worth. I adore all of them. And starting us off is someone's been with me for 3 classes. She is just so naturally funny, progressed to the second round of the comedy competition over at Helium, which is a feat in itself. Please welcome Na Wen.
Hello, my name is Na, like, can I take you home? Nah. So you know how there are those day in the life videos on TikTok? Day in the life as a stay-at-home dog, day in the life as a stripper. So today I'll be talking about my day in the life as a train wreck. So to start off my day, I always go to the gym, and today I realized that every female at the gym is doing a booty workout. So this lady was hogging the squat rack, so I had to ask her and be like, "Hey, do you think we can share the squat rack because my booty's smaller than yours?" So then I had a virtual appointment with my therapist, and after waiting for 20 minutes, she never showed up. And I was really confused because I thought we had a good chat last time. My insurance definitely paid her. So I was thinking, like, you know, my problems must be really fucked up for my therapist to ghost me like a fuckboy. So since paid therapists are not working out, I decided to find a free one on Tinder. So I started mass swiping on therapists. And I matched with one, and he wanted to meet up. So we met up, and he was telling me about how he focuses on couples therapy. So I was asking about his relationship history, and he said he's actually never been in a romantic relationship. So I was like, "So you give fake advice?" And then I was like, you know, now I have gained a new issue and have massive trust issues with therapists. Thanks. So my day job is that I'm a realtor, and I sell in Portland, Oregon. And whenever I tell people that, they always ask me if I sell tents. And being a realtor is really interesting, you know. People think buying a house is like buying a shirt. So my friend sent me a house that was $1 million today, asking me how he can get approved. And being his close friend, I know he has about like $2 in his name, which doesn't buy a tent. And I had to be like, you know, I'm not trying to be mean, but the first step is for you to stop being unemployed. So then I had a listing appointment that was 45 minutes away, and it was an Asian household, so I took off my shoes. And when I got there, I stepped on a puddle of fluids. It definitely was not water, because there was color to it, there was odor. So I asked the owner if he has a dog, and he said that it's just him living there. So I was like, great, human fluids. And at this point, I'm like ready to throw away my feet. But I was like, let's just get this over with and move on. So I finished my presentation, and then he was like, I'm actually not looking to sell my house. I just wanted some company. And I have a lot of tax questions, if that's something that you can help me with. I'm like, sir, the only advice I have for you is to get a mop. And then I received a text from my friend inviting me to go to Florida for a 26-mile marathon. I'm like, you want me to fly across the country to run? And she was like, it's going to be a couple trip, 5 couples plus you. So I was like, okay, who am I staying with? And she was like, well, you need to figure it out. All the couples have their own room. So I was like, so now I have to find a stranger, put out, so I have a home for the weekend? I'm not doing that. So then I go to Mount Tabor for my evening walk, and I really had to go to the bathroom, type 2. And at this point, I am shaking, I am sweating. So I was just thinking like, okay, where is the nearest bathroom? That house. So I knocked on the door and the lady answered. So I gave her 2 options. One, for me to go in the bathroom on the grass like a dog, or 2, use her bathroom. So she let me go inside, and I was there for a while, just sitting there, in deep thought, and I was just thinking, like, this was actually really dangerous. Like, what if she was a killer? Like, nobody would be able to find me. They would know how we relate. And then, I don't know if you guys know this, but before you pass, like, how you look is going to be your permanent ghost outfit. And how I was looking in that moment was not it, okay? I was sweating, my pants were pulled down, I was stinky. And me as a ghost, I have a long list of people that I need to haunt. So I need to be looking my very best. And as I was thinking about this, I was like, I need to get out, so I ran out of the house, and I was like, thanks. And then, before coming here, I received a dick pic on Snapchat. This guy said that he accidentally sent it to me. So I responded with a rating. I was like, 3 out of 10. And I said, please never accidentally send me a dick pic again, because I might accidentally send it to my married friends. Married people, they love dick pics because they see the same dick every day. Thank you, everyone, for listening.
Now when, ladies and gentlemen, the first dick jokes of the night. Give it up for her. That's one thing that hasn't changed in 43 years, I'll tell you that. We have showcases on September 7th and September 17th, right, Patrick?
That's correct.
And where can they learn more about these showcases or classes here?
PortlandComedy.com, or go to the website and sign up for our Blast newsletter.
Yeah, you get a Blast newsletter.
Yeah.
Absolutely. You look funny. You should take a class. It's one of my prized people. Actually, I don't teach Denny anything because he's naturally funny. When are you going to be on, Denny? September?
Next Thursday.
Next Thursday. If you had forgotten when you were going to be on, that would be bad. So that was a little improv there, and you passed. Very good. Give Denny a round of applause. Denny's taking the class. Grace has taken all my classes, and Therese. And Dega, who am I forgetting? Oh, Kevin. Kevin, when are you on? The 17th? The 17th. And Kim took my first class. Kim, I love Kim. Kim is one of my political buddies. This means no, don't talk about you, Kim? Yeah, tell a comic not to do something, and the comic's really going to be paying attention, you know? First time I played Richland, Washington, they say, no jokes about Hanover. So I opened with 15 minutes on Hanover, you know, because or Hanford, thank you. Yeah, that's why they laughed, because I did Hanover. It was all about New Hampshire, and they had no clue. Well, Idris is coming up next. Yeah, I was just talking about people who are not on tonight. How are you, sir? You look like a scientist. Did you work at Hanford?
No, but I was out there just recently.
You were out there recently? I noticed you're glowing. Yeah. You were in Richland?
Yeah, in fact.
Oh God, that's Trump country out there. It is. You know, I play Richland every year. I was there in 2016, and I went to a diner for breakfast. It was a very nice breakfast. The waitress had a huge Trump 2016 button on. It's like, okay, fine. I didn't say anything, and then I had my meal. It was a fine meal. She gave me the check, and I gave her back the check, and I said, Mexico will pay for it. So I've eaten free in Richland for all these years. Come on in. Yeah, good. Did you miss part of the show? You're just getting here? Oh, you got wine after the first act. Wow. Good night for you. Who are you here to see?
Mark Hachizume!
Oh, Mark! Where's Mark? Oh, Mark people. Mark is my favorite comic with a robe. He's the bar for setting the robe. This next guy is just amazing. He's third class, I think, with me. I just absolutely love his humor. It's very smart, and I just think the world of him. He's a prolific writer, and you're going to find out why. Please welcome Idris Wahed, ladies and gentlemen.
Looks like we've got an intimate audience tonight, which is good because I have an intimate story to share with you guys. We'll start off, my name's Idris, and like most of us, I hate going to the doctor. Now, people hate going to the doctor for all kinds of reasons. My dad, for example, he's an older Middle Eastern man, and he doesn't trust them. What he does trust, instead, is a spice and an herb, a home remedy of black pepper and turmeric. Mark knows what's up. You and my dad should meet. Anytime I'm coming down with a cold, my dad, he'll go, Edie, that's what he calls me. What you do is you take the black pepper and the turmeric, you put it in the hot water with lemon, you drink that twice a day, and before you know it, it will be gone. But it doesn't stop there. It's good for the outside too. An injured shoulder, you'll go, ED, you take the black pepper and turmeric, you rub it on your shoulder. Is that right, Mark? And in a few days, everything will be well. And if you ask me, I think he gives to black pepper and turmeric a lot of the credit that belongs to time. And I don't mean the herb. But recently I went through a bit of heartbreak, and my dad tells me, Edie, when it comes to love, believe it or not, even black pepper and turmeric cannot fix your poor judgment. Next time you should listen to me and let me find you a nice girl. Thanks, Pops. What I'm worried about is that you thought that I thought that black pepper and turmeric could fix that for me. That's not why I hate going to the doctor. I trust them just fine. The reason I hate going to the doctor is because I have this irrational fear that from the time I make the appointment to the time I get there, whatever's wrong with me isn't wrong with me anymore. The fever's broken, the rash is cleared up, and I just look like an idiot for wasting a doctor's time. And for me, there's nothing worse than when they write a pity prescription of ibuprofen for you. It's like, yeah, one of these, is like 3 of the ones you have at home. Like, couldn't I just take 3 of the ones I have at home? He's like, yeah. Like, that seems kind of pointless. I'm like, yeah. Like going to the doctor when you're not sick. I didn't need that. And all that is to say that it takes a lot to get me to go to the doctor. Which, unfortunately, I recently had to do because of an incident. It was the end of a long day of work. I was sitting at my desk, and as I went to get up, I noticed a novel sensation down here with my nutty buddies. By the time you're in your 30s, you've had most of the fun and novel sensations that are to have down there. And what's left on the table, you don't bump into by accident. So I do what any reasonable modern adult would do, and I Googled it. And whatever benign cause could have been behind these symptoms were quickly eclipsed by one phrase: testicular torsion. It's when the buddies get twisted up and try to choke each other out, and it's an emergency. Honorary mention cancer, it showed up, but it almost would have been weirder if it didn't, so torsion took the day. So at this point, I've given myself a good spooking, and I fear that I'm losing objectivity in the situation. So I reach out to the only man I trust for medical advice: my older brother. If you thought I was going to say my dad, we know what his advice would have been. And if it came to going to the doctor, I didn't feel like explaining why I had not only twisted, but well-seasoned nuts. So I reach out to my older brother. He's been driving a similar make and model for a few years longer than I have. Has a good sense of what's coming up on the service schedule. And his advice is, when it comes to the buddies, you don't mess around. Make an appointment. And so reluctantly, I do. And I hit the jackpot for someone with my particular fear. Appointment half an hour out. There's no way this is resolving that fast. And before you know it, I am sitting in an exam room as the doctor comes in to prepare to perform the examination. Or as I like to call it, a studied, medically informed fondling. Just as a side note, I've never figured out how you're supposed to stand during one of these. No one tells you. So that's like, I don't know, like maybe something neutral like the Army cadet? Or maybe it's a lady doctor, something more universally accessible like the TSA airport scanner. Or my personal favorite, which I don't think I'll ever have the balls to do, our Lord and Savior. That's pretty bad. But the doctor does the examination and agrees that something looks off. The buddies are looking a little bit askance. And more alarmingly, they do a urine test, and it comes back showing a lot of blood. Which, yeah, guys, if you Google that, not only do you have cancer, but you're about to die. So the doctor prints off this very official looking piece of paper that she has me sign, that in medical terms says, get your ass to the ER, and if you don't, it's not my fault. And at this point I'm scared, because something's wrong with me. But there's also low-key this voice in the back of my head that's kind of like stoked. It's like, woohoo! I'm the doctor, there's something wrong with me. I don't know why it sounds like Mario, but it does. Now I go to the ER and I have this piece of paper. And I'm holding it up like a golden ticket. I'm like, as per my doctor, my bones be busted. And I need help, please. So, to their credit, they move fast. Before you know it, they've got me in a wheelchair, they've whisked me off to an ultrasound where the technician becomes better buddies with my buddies than I could ever hope to be. Take me back, throw me in a little closet of a room to wait for results. This is my first time as an adult in the ER. I've heard all these awful things about how long it takes and just how awful of an experience it is. And I'm actually having a pretty good time. For the first hour. I'm there for 5 hours. Just holding my buddies, whispering encouragement to them as I'm listening to people go by, just having the worst nights of their lives. And after 5 hours of feeling like the last kid to be picked up from school, the doctor finally comes in to put me out of my misery. And to give someone with my particular fear the worst news I could have got. Everything's fine. Ultrasound came back. No bumps, no lumps, no kinks, no twists. Everything looks good. In fact, I spy a little line on the report the doctor's looking at. It says, testicles. Unremarkable. Which after the day that my buddies have had, felt very rude. But more importantly, they did another urine test and the doctor's like, I looked under a microscope, there's no blood. Whatever is going on, the test must have got a false positive because everything looks good there. I can't see anything wrong. I'll tell you what though, I'm gonna prescribe you some ibuprofen. I'm like, well, there's gotta be something wrong, right? Like, what is going on? What's wrong with my buddies? He's like, well, they just do that sometimes. They just do that sometimes. I'm hearing it echo in the back of my head as I'm walking home in the dark at 1:30 in the morning. Do you know how it feels to spend 5 hours cradling your perfectly healthy balls while listening to people have actual emergencies? I wasted not just a doctor's time, but an emergency, life-saving doctor's time with a problem I could have solved with black pepper and turmeric. Thank you.
Idris live, ladies and gentlemen. Come on, Idris. You know everyone's going to try those 3 positions tonight at home. Especially my Lord and Savior. Give it up for Idris live. I think we should vote on which of those is the best, shouldn't we? Okay, they're looking at like, are you the model? No. So good job, Idris, and just so well crafted. Our next act has also been with me, I think, three classes, Jeff. Also another prolific writer, Na and Idris and Jeff just keep writing, and we workshop all this material, and they do the work to hone it down. And Jeff's also a football fan, as am I, and you're excited who the Ducks open Portland tomorrow?
Portland State.
And you're going to the game?
Yep.
All right, good for you. I get pretty excited about baseball. I read that, by the way, Budweiser, since they've had a little problem with their marketing, they're going to bring Spuds McKenzie back. Remember Spuds McKenzie, the Bud dog? You know what I'm talking about? With the thing? How many people know Spuds was a female? Do you know that? You know that? So here's some Hollywood trivia. If you heard me do this before, don't answer. But 22 years in LA, there's a reason why Spuds McKenzie and most animals in TV and film are female. Yell out if you know why. Anybody? You're looking at me like, please, bring on the next act. Anybody?
Less excitable.
Less excitable. Okay. That's not been my experience, but maybe also why I'm gay. Well, it's not the first reason. I think it was torsion, actually, that made me... no, good guess. Thank you for the torsion callback laugh. Anybody? Last chance?
Prettier.
Prettier. No, that's a very good guess. Give her a round of applause. We have lovely parting gifts for you. No, most animals in TV and film are female. They don't want the thing on the screen. Think about it. King Kong climbing the Empire State Building. You didn't see that. Where was that? That would have reached Jersey, come on. That retreat could hold onto the building and still knock the planes out of the air. So that's a visual dick joke, that's how we do it. Wow, found your sweet spot, yeah! Going to CSZ Portland tonight for that visual dick joke, that's why I'm here. All right, would you like to follow the visual dick joke? Please welcome Jeff Bell, ladies and gentlemen. Jeff Bell!
Hey everybody, I promise to be the third straight comedian. At some point I will talk about a penis, so coming up at some point. Really happy to be here. Seems like everybody's having a lot of fun. Honestly, my whole goal is to just not bring the audience down, but I'm a little nervous that I might do that because I gotta get something off my chest. It's a little embarrassing here, but stick with me. I don't really care for people that have Down syndrome. Yeah, I know how that sounds, believe me. It needs pretty quick clarification, so let me say, as someone with cerebral palsy, I don't care for people with Down syndrome because all of my life, they've gotten all the attention. And nobody gives a shit about cerebral palsy. If you see me walking down the street, you think, I don't know what it is exactly, but something's wrong, right? Something that cannot be fixed by black pepper and turmeric. I've tried. But if you see someone with Down syndrome, you know what's going on, and you probably assume that they're pretty charming and generally happy because they usually are. Why wouldn't they be? They've been spoiled their whole lives. While they were getting free trips to Disneyland, the coolest thing that ever happened to me because I had cerebral palsy was I got half off at our local 9-hole golf course, which I did think was pretty cool until I heard one of the managers saying, we just don't think he can walk all 9 holes. Yeah, it was a par 3 too, so for any non-golfers, shorter holes. Extra embarrassing, but the joke's on them. I'm so bad at golf that I'd usually quit after 3 or 4 holes anyway. So I wanted to say that on my gravestone. Capable of walking all 9 holes on a par 3 golf course. I just sometimes chose not to. If I sound bitter, good. That's what I'm going for here. I am. We had 2 kids in our elementary school who had Down syndrome, and every single fucking year, we throw them fundraisers to send them and their entire families on these lavish vacations. But they did remember me once by building an extra staircase, or an extra hand railing on one of their staircases. So that was cool. It even has the plaque still. It says the Jeff Bell, we thought he was kidding, hand railing. I wasn't kidding. I used it. I was the only one. Side note though, to management, these 2 stairs here, pretty dicey, I have to say. People are saying these are pretty dicey, and I feel like if I had Down syndrome, I'd have an escalator by now. If you're picturing a very unathletic young boy, that was me exactly. But ironically, I've always been a huge sports fan. I played them as long as I could, which was until the age of like 7. But I tried out for my high school basketball team on a whim, and I made it, which was really cool until I realized it was definitely a Make-A-Wish situation. Because if you help grant a Make-A-Wish, you get a sizable tax refund. So I somehow made my high school basketball team, and the teachers somehow had a new lounge that spring. You do the math on that one. It was a great experience, though. I don't regret any of it. But I never got to play until we got to the final game of the year. And we're up big, it's late in the 4th quarter, and it felt like a movie. It really felt like my chance. The coach calls timeout, the crowd starts to rise, he looks at the end of the bench and he points right at the kid next to me. Oh yeah, he had Down syndrome. Yeah, it was a very happy moment for everybody involved. Very happy moment. Needless to say, I don't have too many physical accomplishments, so I have to savor the ones that I do have. Like, maybe it was a few years too late, but I learned to ride a bike when I turned 7. That was cool. Thank you. Feels better that somebody clapped for that. Let's see, another one. This was right after my 18th birthday. I took the training wheels off the bike. Thank you. Oh, wow, lots of claps. Thank you so much. This is making me feel great. We're having fun. Yeah, I feel like not a lot of people know that much about cerebral palsy. So for me, it really only affects my left side physically. And as a result of that, I've developed a pretty interesting relationship with my left hand. And not in the way that that might imply. Although, okay, to be truthful here in front of you all, I did once try to masturbate with my left hand. And it took me 90 minutes. And I know my fiance hears that and goes, 90 minutes must have been nice. Where has that energy ever been? Oh man, but she's a good sport. Say hi to my fiance right there. I told her I would do that. She's the best. But listen, okay, in my defense, that's not the objective of a solo mission. Right, 90 minutes. And this is back when I had access to a Pornhub premium account. So all of their extra categories, including one for cerebral palsy, which, okay, maybe like one person's cup of tea out there, but for me, it was pretty cool. It's like looking in my own personal sex mirror, you know? I learned a lot from that. I don't run super well, to give you a bit of breaking news. And I realized very early on that I could never commit myself to a life of crime, because if any part of it was caught on tape, like most crimes are now, I would be fucked. And I'm imagining the detectives watching back the footage, you know, like we have 3 people running from the scene quickly, indistinguishable from one another. I don't know how we're going to be able to catch who did this crime. Oh, hold on, there is somebody in the back. Fast forward a little bit more. Right there, stop. There is someone bringing up the rear, just kind of limping along. You know, I think we've got our guy. He might still be there. I know this happened yesterday. Yeah, I can't do crimes. But don't feel too bad for me. This is a real lemons to lemonade situation, because I'm going to turn it into a niche business that I thought of, where you hire me to come camping with your friends. And if that doesn't make sense, I'll just give you the slogan for my business, which is, you know the old saying about how you don't need to be faster than the bear, you just need to be faster than the slowest person in the group. I'll be that guy. I would love to be that guy, and I'll maybe put out an ad that says, like, are you faster than most toddlers? Be safe this summer. Don't leave home without your catchable camper. I've also played around with lovable limper, but feedback's 50-50 on that one. I just think it's an untapped market. And speaking of markets, that's a professional transition for all you out there. Dating market is not something that's been great to me, although I was lucky enough to meet my fiance at work. But before that, I did try the whole online dating thing, and I quickly realized we're all just trying to hide those red flags, right? The things we don't want people to see or know about us. Problem with me was, how do you hide your left leg? Because if I play my cards right, someone's going to get to see this left leg at some point. So I started sprinkling in these fun little descriptors into my online profile just to prepare potential in-person dates as to what they might expect, so there were no surprises. Started out simple. I said, I have an extra bounce in my step. Sounds fun and whimsical, right? But it doesn't quite paint the full picture, so I switched that up with, I have a super normal right leg. That led to a lot of weird questions. It's also not the best option. So I finally settled on, I like to drink a lot, so if I'm a little wobbly, I'm just having a good time. And that's perfect because it has the added bonus of just getting to introduce them to the whole alcoholism thing I have. I like to think of it as killing 2 birds with a few beers. But that was not my worst dating experience. Online thing, you know, it went okay, but the worst one came with my first crush in 5th grade. I had the brilliant idea to write her a love note, but not some dorky poetry, which in hindsight would have been a lot better. No, I tried to write her the lyrics to Angel by Shaggy, in a note, and I replaced the word girl with her name. So if anybody doesn't know or can't remember the song, it goes, for her it was, Kristen, you're my angel, you're my darling angel. All right, everybody now? Kristen, no, I'm kidding. I'm not going to do that. I thought it was a really cool idea, though. I was really proud of myself. I walked up to her at recess to hand her the note. Suddenly, she's surrounded by like 7 friends, which did not make it any better. I handed her the note. She looked at it, and her eyes opened very wide, and she screamed and ran back into the building. And I never saw her again. I never saw her again. Her parents pulled her out of school that same night. So I don't know if it was because of me, but there's nothing like losing all of your confidence before you've popped your first zit. Yeah, I was curious what happened to her. A couple years ago, I decided to look her up. Turns out she is in prison. Yeah, she and a bunch of friends took a road trip to Washington, D.C. a couple years back on like a January 6th. No, that would be really funny. That's not true. She probably actually wishes it was true because she is dead. She accidentally shot herself in a hunting accident. So I don't know what the lesson is here for me. I think looking back on it, I clearly dodged a bullet. She did not. Is it bad, though, that my very first thought was, at least she didn't marry someone with Down syndrome? Thank you, everybody. I appreciate it.
Jeff Bell, ladies and gentlemen, Jeff Bell. Jeff! What's your fiance's name?
Amber.
Amber. Give Jeff and Amber a round of applause. When's the wedding?
Next March.
You want to all go? Let's all show up. Fuck, those are the people from the show. Yeah, do you know where you're going to have it yet?
McMenamin's Kennedy School.
Oh, God. Okay, what room? What's your... Getting closer. You got a credit card number? We can get on the... Yeah, good for you.
4245.
Okay, thank you. Well, good for you. That's excellent. One more time for Jeff. Just really Aunt Fern was not the only Republican in my family. My grandmother, my mother's mother, was so Republican. She refused to carry a Roosevelt dime till the day she died. I swear to God. As a kid, I was 6 years old. I would hold a Dixie cup at the lip of the vanity, and she would push the Roosevelt dimes in, keep the Liberty heads, and take the cup back to the bank. It's unbelievable. She talked smack about black people, Catholics. She hated Catholics. Jews, homosexuals. Catholics were the worst. Jews, homosexuals, Catholics, and black people. It's a truce. And my oldest sister married a Jewish man. My next oldest sister married a Catholic. I'm gay, and my youngest sister married a black man. It's so fucking great. My grandmother has rolled over in the grave so many times she's rotated away to China. I'm which is great because she didn't talk happy about Asians either. So she's living a life. She's living a life. But my mom didn't change too much from her grandmother. She just watched more Fox News. And I would go down there visit in Florida, and I've argued politics with my mother since I was in junior high. And I go down there, my mother accidentally bleached my Obama t-shirt, so I set fire to her Glenn Beck Christmas sweater. Is what I did. Yeah, absolutely. And the hardest thing was getting gay, because I told my mother I was gay, and she said to me, well, we didn't have homosexuals in the 1950s. And I'm saying, okay, well, somebody put the fins on those Cadillacs. It's like... Somebody did those beehive hairdos, lady. So, but she ended up loving Gary, and we've been together 26 years, and it's all love wins. Love wins. Well, I know you're all here to see Mark. Well, 4 of you. And the woman who liked the visual dick joke is here to see Mark. What a shocker. And he's all dressed up. I've known Mark because he comes to all the shows, which I think he's the unofficial mayor of comedy sports, right?
And we don't have another mayor, so that's cool.
cool.
Yeah, okay. Well, we're going to go to beyond the council form of government, but that's okay, Mark, you can still hold your title. He's always in the audience, always energetic, always supporting comedy, and he took the class with me, and he's just really terrific. He's really honed his set for you. Please welcome, ladies and gentlemen, Mark Hasazumi, ladies and gentlemen.
I want to thank the Academy and all the little people who helped me get here. Anybody who's 5'7" and a half and lower smaller than that. No, actually, I really appreciate everybody who showed up for me today. I got I'm preempting my thank yous. So my pickleball group. I appreciate that. You guys get to laugh at me off the court. My laughter club. You guys know how to force a laugh. Thank you for that. My improv people. So we have an exercise in improv called "What Are You Doing?" And so what I'm doing is trying to be funny. And my stand-up peeps. So Carl has a rule when you first come in, is have fun. And I want to add to that, the corollary to that, you got to laugh quid pro quo. So if you're not laughing for my jokes, I'm not going to laugh for yours. So I also want to, got this one, my other prop. My friend Jessica, who's celebrating her birthday today, and she decided to come here to celebrate her birthday. And this is my birthday gift to her, my stand-up. And I want to remind you, there's no regifting. So now on to my show. I am an Asian, not an Asian stereotype. I'm not a model minority. My mother thinks I'm a model son. Yes, I'm a good child. Kept to myself, never bothered anybody, stayed in my room, didn't have any friends. You know, like a serial killer. For all through my life, people come up to me, look at me, puzzle a little bit, and say in a very slow, deliberate, loud voice, "Where are you from?" And calmly, gently, I would tell them, "Exit 15 off the Jersey Turnpike." I would say, "Yo, you got a problem with that?" Yes, I come from the ironically nicknamed Garden State, otherwise known as the landfill of opportunity. I grew up in the middle-class white suburbs of New Jersey, and during my growing up period, Karate Kid came out. And the kids in my neighborhood would look at me and say, he's like, "You're the son of Mr. Miyagi." And they expected me to break a board with my bare hand. Ha! Breaking Bad, no. Breaking Wind, yes. I couldn't clean their clock, but I could clean their car. Wax on, wax off. I'm not a model minority. I didn't get violin lessons when I was growing up. Both my brothers got music lessons. My older brother got accordion lessons, though. I dodged that bullet. I think my parents thought it would be better financially that he could play at Polish weddings instead. I'm not a model minority. I'm not a geek, wasn't good at math. In my grade school math class, my friend Steve and I would sit across from each other in class and flip each other the bird. Until Mrs. Griffin saw us, and I didn't know what it meant though. I always thought it was like, it symbolized the prime number of my knowledge. Later I found out though, in Japan this meant brotherly love. I'm not a model minority. In high school, I didn't join the chess team, I joined the track team. And us Asians are known for our athletic prowess. And you know, it's like with track, it doesn't require any skill or coordination, unlike pickleball. So I thought, why not? Well, might as well do that. And my younger brother and I would run the same event. He would come in last, I would come in second to last. Every single damn junior varsity event. Until he decided to move on to another event. Thank you, little brother. Later on, I decided to run the marathon, you know, further on in my life. It was no coincidence that he ran the marathon the year before. So I ran the New York City Marathon, you know, the 26.2 mile race over 5 boroughs of New York City. Over 13,000 runners at that time. And my mother couldn't understand why I would run a race that I couldn't come in first. Well, Mom, if you ever saw any of my track meets, you would know. I'm not a model minority. Both my brothers were. They went to MIT. I went to school in Cleveland. Though, Cleveland was a step up from New Jersey. My older brother not only excelled academically, he excelled in relationships. He married 3 times. So I didn't want to come in last like other times I've had in my life, like track. So I decided to look to marry a white woman. Why a white woman, you ask? Well, the only Asian woman I knew was my mother. And New Jersey is not Appalachia. So using my serial killer skills, I went looking for a white woman. And hung out at tanning salons, looking for a woman, going in, not going out. Symphony, it's a symphony too, but I didn't have much luck there either. They weren't too impressed the fact that I could play my own organ. And I finally found a woman who would marry me. She was British descent, and she was a white woman, and she was 5'11". So I married up. Now I tell people that her being that much taller didn't make any difference in a horizontal position. Boy, I was wrong. On our honeymoon and subsequent sessions later, she only wanted to use the bedroom, no other room. And even though we lived by ourselves at the time, she wanted the bedroom door closed and locked, shades drawn, lights off, and she would wear her flannel PJs. I was just glad it wasn't the footed ones. And the sheets had to be clean. Now that I couldn't understand, because the sheets were clean afterwards too. So, true to her ethnic heritage, she would shut her eyes, squeeze her eyes tight, and lay back and think of being married. So I tried to get her in the mood by playing God Save the Queen. And at work. I should have played polka music. I love it. So I did get bangers and mash. I got cold raw fish, you know, sushi. We talked about having children, and she was very hesitant about that. She said that she didn't want our children to be shrimps like me. So we finally decided, we went forward and had one, and my son proved that size did matter. He was over 8 pounds in utero, sitting on our sciatica. So he was a chip off the old block. Both of us got on our nerves. So all was not rainbows and unicorns in our marriage. We hit some rough spots, like financially, had to tighten our belts, watch our spending. And she would just complain bitterly, though. She's like, she didn't want to shop at white trash places like Walmart. Well, I figured that was her opportunity to get back to her roots. And we also had to watch out for our monthly bills like utilities and heat. But it's only one of us was frigid, so. So eventually, I learned to embrace my ethnic heritage, and I followed Marie Kondo's advice: if it doesn't spark joy in your life, get rid of it. So I get rid of my wife. So today, here I am living in the whitest city in America. And like, whoever that guy is, where that guy who ran in 2016, Mitt Romney. Thank you, Vega. It's like my lack of Asian. I'm not the A student I was. So Mitt Romney, I'm just like Mitt Romney. I have binders full of women in the whitest city in America. So I'm home. So cheers, everybody.
Great set. He really honed that down. Give him a round of applause. And congratulations to Dega, who played Nancy Reagan there. It was great, Mark. It was fucking great. And Dega got some stage time. That's good. I love it. He's from New Jersey. I'm from New Jersey. And in a couple minutes, you'll meet Bill DiStefano, who's also from New Jersey. Anyone else from New Jersey? Oh, welcome. Yeah. 4 New Jerseyans in the same room. Oh, my God. That's not going to end well. Where are you from in New Jersey?
Right by Plainfield. So
Plainfield?
Yeah.
Good for you. If you can spell Plainfield correctly, I'll give you $1 off the next class you take here. Yeah.
I can't spell it.
You can't spell it? Okay. See, that's the New Jersey attitude right there. Fuck it. Let somebody else spell it. I can't fucking spell it.
Maybe because he went to school in New Jersey.
Comedy's so much fun, and if any of you want to take the class, it's portlandcomedy.com. We have a great time. As my husband said, that he gets me out of the house 3 nights a week. I come home happy. What could be better? And the world is screwed up. There's a lot of fucked upness out there, and we have a very loving and affirming and fun time in our class. So it's good to get away. I actually think if politicians need more sense of humor these days, don't they? I mean, there's no sense of humor whatsoever. There's just craziness, anger, fascism, all that. One of my favorite politicians was What was it, David? Oh, Mitt Romney. No, Margaret Chase Smith is a woman senator from the state of Maine in the 1950s. She had the best sense of humor. You go back to listen to any of her speeches, any of her press conferences. She was just freaking great. Like she went to Comedy Sports or took the class or something. She was also often mentioned as one of the first possible women presidents. And a reporter asked her one day, said, Senator Smith, what would you do if you woke up and found yourself in the White House? She said, I would get dressed, run downstairs, apologize to Mrs. Eisenhower, and leave. So that's the value of comedy. People will love you. Coming to the stage now, and I'm going to get the stage ready. He's the youngest member of our class, and we all love him, and he brings his young bride with him as well. And please welcome, you're going to love him, Terry Lichwager, ladies and gentlemen. Terry! Terry!
Oh, where to start? I'll start with the way I did the other two times I've been up in this particular place, looking at the audience. Yeah, the other two times I looked at them and I said, you scare me. Now, you do scare me a little bit, but less. I'm getting, I'm getting used to this. Okay, I got the right distance now, and I'll try to keep it there. Patrick, yell at me or something if I cause too much trouble with this thing.
I never yell at you.
I'll yell at you.
Okay. Well, he's from New Jersey. And New Jersey, that's the Vancouver of the East Coast. Is that original with me, Bill?
Yeah. You just reversed someone's joke. So
Yes. So, you have to meet the situation with whatever you've got while you're trying to remember what you were supposed to say. Well, I'm going to go back and tell you about my origin story, so to speak. And I'm not talking about when I was born. I'm talking about when I was conceived. Okay? I want to go back to the real start of all the trouble. Now, I was born in October of 1939. Now, things were different than they are now, and looking around, that gentleman with silver hair there, I thought when I saw him come in, hey, maybe one of them is as old as I. And I don't think so. I'm 84 next month. And that would make me the oldest person in the place except for my wife, which is back in the back. And she is 95 now. And I'll be 84 next month. She'll be 96 next month. And she is the best thing that ever happened to me. However, if any of you are younger and contemplating marrying an older woman, there's something you should know. And that is that you will never, ever be able to get sympathy for your advancing age. Hold on. Well, anyway, back to origins. And you're going to wonder how I came up with all this knowledge, since most people don't remember their conception. You're just going to have to believe that I have. See, this is a day and age where there are facts, and then there are alternate facts. And these are my alternate facts. And you can't prove a negative, so you can't prove that they aren't. Now, I was conceived in a very traditional American way. Let's see, which way does this thing work here? Let me move it around a little bit. Okay, that was right. As I say, I was conceived in a very traditional American way for the Midwest. This happened in the state of Iowa. I was conceived by my parents, missionary position, in the back seat of a 1935 Chevrolet. And it wasn't supposed to happen, but it did. Now, my parents were kind of the adventurous kind in that respect. They weren't married yet. My father was 22 years old at the time. He was a pilot, had learned to fly by himself. Well, with an instructor, but not, he paid for it. Okay, that's what I'm getting at. And World War II was soon to start, and he was enlisted in the United States Army Air Force. And he was home on leave, and my mother was working as a clerk at I think it was Piggly Wiggly. You probably never heard of Piggly Wiggly, maybe somebody has.
Yeah.
Oh, good. Are you that old? Okay, but you know, it was a different time back then. So FDR was president. John Nance Garner, I believe, was vice president. He was the one that said that the office of the vice presidency is worth a warm bucket of piss. And that's what he's known for. There was no television, no cell phones, and all sorts of things were missing. Now, they were having trouble getting together as much as they wanted. And it was New Year's Eve, and they conceived of this plan. They were going to go to a New Year's celebration. And my mother was kind of an adventurous sort, and what she determined was, why don't we do something different? We could leave quietly just before the ball drops, so to speak. And we could get out to the car, and we could be having sex as the year turns from 1938 to 1939. And so they made a project out of this. And they executed the project. This was Iowa. It was cold. And I asked this of another group, and they never heard of this, but have you ever heard the phrase, it's so cold, you better bring in any brass monkeys that you know of? Nobody? Oh, well, let me tell you what a brass monkey is. A brass monkey is a little square platform with little ridges, which is used by the British Navy to stack cannonballs in a pyramid. Now, brass has a different coefficient of contraction and expansion than the cannonballs. So when it got really cold, they had to bring in the brass monkeys, because otherwise they would squeeze the cannonballs and the cannonball pyramid would fall and they'd run all over the place. I always thought that they were talking about brass monkeys as in an animal, and that the balls, so cold the balls would fall off. But anyway. So in their planning, they had to carry this up very surreptitiously, because this is 1938, 39. So what they did was, she got ready, she didn't wear any panties that night. And that caused a bit of a problem, which I'll get to in a minute. He parked the car so that it very close to a back door. And just as the excitement was building for the change of the year, they went through that door and went into the back seat. And, the traditional way there, missionary position, he had his pants down his ankles. He slid her dress. So few women wear dress anymore, I could never remember the word. He slid the dress up to her waist and then about to do the deed. But then she complained, the seat is cold. And so he slid the dress back down again. Enough. And then about that time, they started hearing the noise from the celebration. The little horns that they'd blow and so forth and so on. And so they went to it, and just as the horns blew and the year turned, everybody came. He came, She came, I came into existence. It was quite a time there. Now, where was I during this time? I mean, before I was conceived, well, I was nothing but a little sperm. Okay? Now, I want to tell you my preparation for my part in the situation. A sperm takes 63 days to develop. And then they've got to be used within like about 4 or 5 days, otherwise they get absorbed back into the body and so forth. Sperm is always being produced. I'm producing sperm right now. However, since I was 30 years old, that sperm has never gotten any place because I visited the doctor one afternoon with my jock strap and had that taken care of. My first wife wanted it done, and so I did it, and then she divorced me. But you know, that's another story. But back to the sperm. At the average ejaculation, there's about 200 million sperm in the average ejaculation. And they gave us classes as we were developing and told us what to expect. You develop 63 days. You're going to be staged for ejaculation as the situation warrants. And then your best bet is to swim like hell. Because only one of you at most is going to survive. But usually, nobody survives. It's basically a suicide mission. Because number one, wankers, that's a British word, are famous for spilling sperm willy-nilly. So each time, 200 of my fellow sperm dead. Every time. Well, okay. Now, our system for alert to be ready to be expelled was if my father got an erection. If he got an erection, they'd call us up and say, get ready, you may do it, not guaranteed, but you may. Now there was a class in front of us, and they were the ones who were really called, we were the reserve. And normally I think it would have been they who got the experience of that I will relate, but the night before, my father hadn't had a chance to see my mother and so forth and so on, and he got a little needy, and those that felt that they were going to be next for a real success possibility, they all got spilled in the toilet. So that put us up. Now it was quite a day because you know that most men have up to 3 erections just before they wake up. We're asleep, we don't know it, but it happens. So men, if you're as old as me, and you never get to see an erection anymore, set your alarm clock or something. Wake up about half an hour before you normally do and down. You might be surprised. Or put your hand down there. You might even be more surprised. Or get your wife to do it. Who knows what will happen then. But anyway, he'd had 3 of these things before, we got to the party. So we were getting a little tired getting ready and then, but we were there when he got the erection, and especially when my mother told him that she hadn't worn any panties, that really set him off. And so we, there, shot out. Now, the first thing we were concerned with, it was cold outside. So we knew if we got cold suddenly, we weren't in the right place. But it wasn't. It was moist and it was warm. And somebody was like, oh, okay, let's start swimming. But I thought, what if she just gave him a blowjob? I'm in a mouth. That means one of two things. I'm gonna, she's either gonna be a spitter or a swallower. And if she's a spitter, it would be death by cold very shortly. If she's a swallower, hydrochloric acid in the stomach is just gonna be hell. Now the next thought I had is a little risque. What if he had decided to use the back door? It took a moment there, didn't it? They didn't do that much back there in 1938, 39. But it's quite popular now. If you don't believe me, just tune into any porn station. Okay, so, but we were in the right place, and I was swimming like hell. And lo and behold, I became the chosen one. I got to the egg, and there were others there. I wasn't the first one there. They were kind of swarming around it, and they were, hitting it and not getting in and hitting it. But I noticed they didn't keep hitting it in this very same place. And I thought about that, and I thought, wait a minute. I hadn't had mechanical engineering yet in school, but I was kind of naturally bright. And I said, well, okay, I'm going to hit it, and I'm going to keep hitting it at the same place. It worked. The fourth try, I was in. And that releases some kind of chemical or some such, and that makes the skin of the egg really, really tough. And so I was there. I and the egg was now a zygote. That's what they call it, a zygote. And didn't mean that I was going to be a human being yet. That long ways down, and most zygotes never make it. It's the way it is. So, she got pregnant. Now this was, now January 1st. When she missed her January period later on, that caused a little bit of concern, especially since he'd taken off to his base that he was assigned. And when she missed her February period, she hit the panic button. And arrangements were made, and back then, it was a very strong German community. Everybody had the same color hair. And that's right. I had never seen a black man until I was about 10 years old. And I will give you now an example of racism. But racism by a woman who was a very nice woman, my grandmother. We're walking down the street, she's holding my hand, and a black man is on the other side. I had never seen one. It was an object of interest. And I looked, and she said, "Don't stare. It's not his fault." And he's like that. And racism sneaks in. You gotta be careful about that. Okay, now let's see. Anyway, they resolved the problem by doing the time-honored thing. And, they got married, but they really still didn't want to admit that they had jumped the gun. And so I came as a fully developed baby, but with only a gestation period of about 6 months. This was accepted because of the fact that there was this saying that the first child can come at any time, subsequent children take 9 months. Now, and I was watching, by the way, this thing on Patrick last night on the streaming, which I like. And saw you, Denny, on streaming. And you, and so on and so on. Hello, everybody that's streaming and the like. And now I'm trying to, anyway, oh yeah, somebody lost it a little, oh, I hadn't lost it at the last. And now I'm losing it at the last. But give me a moment here. And well, I better quit because it's getting a little late. Anyway, damn, and I thought I had a good way to end this thing too. Well, I do in that, you see, at 83, almost 84, I can get away with this. Well, another senior moment. So I'm going to give, I know what I did want to say. That stairs is tricky. You, like me, are having balance problems, which I am. And also, where's Mark? Anyway, Mark said he was Mark, you were complaining about being only 5 feet 7.5 or something like that.
All the way to the half inch, yes.
Yeah, I used to be 5'8", bigger than you. Used to be. I have now shrunk.
We're not talking below the
to
waist.
5'7". 5'5". No, 5'6". 5'6". Oh God, the senior moments are coming too fast. I'm gonna leave.
Terry Winslow, ladies and gentlemen. Terry used to fly 747s. That's what he did. And his last day, instead of getting on the intercom to ask people to buckle their seatbelts, he did that bit. And this is his last day. One more time for Terry. Jeff, Terry is available to perform at Your and Amber's wedding. Also available for Christian summer camps. And,
Sounds like Wally Cox.
Amish barn raisings. Oh, Wally Cox. Yeah, I remember Wally Cox. Yeah, he was on Hollywood Squares as well. Yeah, he I didn't think he talked about his dick a lot, but his last name was Cox. So we have our final performer tonight. Good job, Terry. Good job, everybody. Give everyone a round of applause for our final performer. My students. When Terry just came in and said, "I'm a sperm," and he developed all of that. Just amazing how it developed to get to sperm to zygote in one comedy class.
Science.
Pardon me?
Science.
It is science. We all just wait for that ejaculation in the class, and we know he's ready. So our final act is from New Jersey. I mentioned, what's your name?
Steve.
Steve's from New Jersey. I'm from New Jersey. Mark is from New Jersey.
No, I'm not from New Jersey.
Fuck.
I did.
You lied?
I just.
Oh, you're not from New Jersey?
All behind me.
What do we do for people who claim they're from New Jersey but aren't? Okay, good. Concrete is the answer. Yeah. Where are you really from, Mark?
I'm hearing up, because I am from New Jersey, but yeah,
What the fuck?
I try to forget that. I passed.
Okay. I'm going to have you and Terry in the same class. That'll be fun. Just prompt each other the whole time. No. I believe you're from New Jersey, so I'm going with it because you're not going to burst my bubble. This guy is really, really funny. He's had a couple classes with me, and we're darn glad he's here tonight to end the show. Please welcome Bill DeStefano, ladies and gentlemen. DeStefano! He may or may not be from New Jersey.
Oh, I'm from New Jersey. Hey, Mark, what kind of shit is that? He even gave the exit.
I deny it.
Yeah, that's going to prove what I'm about to say. My name's Bill. I'm an accountant, so you know I'm funny. I come from New Jersey, the Cleveland of states. I don't know why we get such a bad rap, but I got a funny feeling it has something to do with that show, The Jersey Shore. Do you remember that show? You had Snooki, whatever the hell that is, JWoww with 2 W's, and then The Assassin. No, what was it? The Situation. Here's the situation. They're not from New Jersey, okay? So please don't blame whatever they did on us. Let me explain New Jersey, because I'm sure Oregonians think of us and go, Jesus, what is wrong with these people? I'm about to tell you.
Preach, brother.
It is fucking crowded there, okay? Everywhere on the East Coast is crowded, but Jersey just has the distinction of being the most crowded. So how crowded, you say? I heard you. We have 1,300 people per square mile. Do you know what that's like? No. No, because here you have 40. 40 people per square mile is your average team. Do you know there's 40 people in this room right now? It's real easy to be nice when there's only 40 people. I start jamming 1,300 people in the room, and you're all going to become a bunch of Republican, conservative little bastards. Let me explain a little more about Jersey, because I don't think the other guys really gave it a good color. Number one, it's predominantly Italian, so you're going to eat well, but it's going to be loud. The mob runs everything, so everything's fucked up and under construction. And The Sopranos is true. In fact, we consider it a documentary. Now, I grew up in that era, and people hated watching that show with me, because I'd sit there and go, oh, there's John's house. But one thing people, I guess you know about it, but you may not know just how severe it is with the mob, is their secrecy, right? They want to name our state university, this is a secret thing. We wanted New Jersey State University. They interrupted and said, whoa, 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 don't ever use your real name. Call it Rutgers. Sounds British. Anything bad happens, they'll blame Princeton. In case you didn't know, Princeton was the other university in our state. Now, growing up in Jersey was a little odd because we did have that mob factor. And I grew up with a lot of their grandkids. And everybody there had a fucking nickname. I mean, and they were stupid nicknames. So we had a bookie. His name was Nicky the Nose. Had a big chin. We had another guy who had that alopecia skin disease. Yeah, assholes called him Tommy Two Tones. I had another friend, and this guy had to animate his fucking name. He would walk in and go, "Hi, I'm Johnny Stampanano." Johnny, that's not even a nickname. It's just your name. Guy's in his 70s now, still does it. I think it hurts his foot, but I think he cares. So growing up in New Jersey, there is something else. The mob is the #1 employer. So when I got my first job, imagine that, I worked for them. So I would collect money. And I had a nickname that was better than the other guys. Mine was Billy Bag of Donuts. And the reason they called me that was I would collect the money in little Dunkin' Donut bags. You know those things? They had a little window in the front. Everyone's like, what are you, an asshole? He's collecting money with a window in it? I'm like, there's a strategy behind it, because everybody else gets caught. I don't think anybody here has ever had to collect money for an organization like that. But let me give you a little hint. I probably only had to collect maybe 20, 25 grand. It's my largest, right? And that's only going to be about this big, right? Even if it's 20s. You wrap it in a towel. You put it at the bottom of the Dunkin' Donuts bag. You take all the boss's favorite donuts and you put them on top. Now, what is the method to my madness? Well, now I'm walking back. Number one, if a cop sees me, even if he comes over and asks me for a donut, he has no idea there's a crime at the bottom of the bag. Everybody else used brown bags. Yes. Like he didn't know what was in the fucking bag when there was no grease. So, anyway, I found out I have sleep apnea. I only found out because my neighbor filed a noise complaint. Now, sleep apnea, it turned out, is actually kind of serious. I had heard that it was the #1 killer of young men. Out of everything, it causes more stroke and heart attacks. And so I went to a doctor. I'm not stupid. I go to the doctor and I say, yeah, you know, I got this sleep apnea thing. And she's checking me out and stuff. And she says, all right, let's check out your boobs. I'm like, what's that got to do with sleep apnea? She goes, well, it has to do with being fat. Huh? She goes, yeah. Obesity is the #1 reason for sleep apnea. You bitch. So anyway, she did. She scheduled me for a mammogram. I was like, all right, fuck you. I'll go. I didn't even know what a mammogram was. You ladies know that, don't you? Don't you? Tell the truth. Guys, it's worse than the prostate exam, okay? And we know how bad that can be. Except for maybe Carl. Okay, guys, just to give you an idea of what it is that you walk in and it's this big-ass fucking machine, and it's got this little area with 2 big clear blocks on it that look like Jell-O. Soft Jell-O? Yeah, they're not soft jelly. Okay? They are hard plastic. And they push your chin. Women, they push your tit. Men, they push your breast. They push it in, and then some sadistic little bitch behind, usually Asian, cranks it down until you make a face. Mommy. And all I'm thinking is, God damn it, can you pop a nipple? Anyway, I got lucky. There was nothing there, but she had her fun and got me, you know, to use CPAP, which, you know, I use, and I'm much healthier for it. I didn't grow up, you know, I was a bit of a late bloomer. I didn't start smoking pot until I was about 40. Now, for most of you, you probably smoked when you were young, you didn't think it was that big a deal, but I'll tell you, when you turn 40 and all of a sudden you get all your friends' jokes from high school, it's unraveled. My friend Dave, even, all I hear from him after I told him I smoked pot and I got his joke, I told you to start smoking, you asshole. Bitter Bill. That's what you were, Bitter Bill. I'm like, Bitter Bill? Apparently I had a bad case of cranky baby syndrome. I blamed it on the apnea. I was going to try and do some new stuff tonight. I'll temper it, because I'm going to be back on the 17th where I hope I perfect it. But a lot of people will also want to know about me is, how the fuck did this happen? And I got to tell them, well, Betty. Betty is my mother. And Betty needs to be discussed. This is a woman who was 5 foot, 105 pounds of terror. Okay? Now we know you can't say nothing bad about your mom. It's your mom. Right. I'm talking about Betty. Okay? Betty drank too much. And Betty, believe it or not, came from culture, I guess. You know, she came from the old culture. Like, you're like Glen Ridge, New Jersey. But no, she would bring up Scotland and the family castle. I'm like, lady, you are fucking delusional. So anyway, I'm going to talk about Betty on the 17th. I hope I piqued your interest in that. I don't think we can get into Betty too much right now. And I also wanted to finish about the fitness because sleep apnea is kind of a weight thing and you can lose. So I went out and I got a Fitbit. I got a word to award. When you masturbate, it counts as steps. So make sure you switch hands. Don't want to gross anyone out. 35,000. That's it. That's my time.
Bill Stefano, ladies and gentlemen. Yeah! Bill Stefano. In class, he showed us the results of his mammogram. It said breasts unremarkable. Bill Stefano, ladies and gentlemen. Well, how about a hand for everybody on the show tonight? Now, when? In fact, come up on stage. We're going to take a picture. Now, when? Now, keep going. Grease. Yeah, and let's see, Jeff Bell, ladies and gentlemen, Jeff Bell. We're going to take a class. Keep it going for these folks. Jeff Bell, Mark Hashizume, who might be from New Jersey. Terry, bringing Terry up, and also Bill Stefano, ladies and gentlemen. Give them all a round of applause. Yeah. Listen, you guys have been a really great crowd tonight. Thank you for supporting all these comics, and please join us on the 7th of September and the 17th of September. And also, if you think you're funny, believe me, you'll be funnier after you take the class. And it's great fun. We'd love to have you join us. It's portlandcomedy.com. Thank you and good night. Thank you so much. You guys have been great.
Thank you. Okay, take a picture with me.
What's the thing afterwards?
No, that was a great tease.
Very nice.
Thank you, Dana.
Oh, of course. No, when you were saying that, I was like, oh, binders for a woman. I like this too.
And I have my binders there, actually.
Oh, you did?
I should have